The December cold bit through my jacket as I stood on the porch of my daughter's house, holding the cheesecake I'd made that morning. Same recipe I'd used for 30 years, New York style, vanilla bean, graham cracker crust. Through the bay windows, I could see the dining room table stretched to its full length, filled with people I didn't recognize, expensive suits, designer dresses, wine glasses catching the light from the crystal chandelier I'd paid for 2 years ago. 22 people. I'd counted them through the window before I knocked. The door swung open. Garrett stood there, my son-in-law, wearing a cashmere sweater that probably cost more than my monthly pension. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Thad. Sorry, but we weren't expecting you. The table's completely full. 22 people. There's just no space for you." The words came out smooth, practiced, like he'd rehearsed them. I stood there with the cheesecake in my hands, my mouth half open. Behind him through the hallway I could see into the living room. An empty armchair sat right there. The recliner I'd bought them last Christmas. $1,200, leather, massage function. I told Rebecca I was coming. She texted me yesterday to confirm. Did she? Garrett pulled out his phone, made a show of checking it. Must have been a miscommunication. Anyway, as you can see, we're at capacity. He gestured vaguely toward the crowded dining room. Maybe next time we can coordinate better. Rebecca appeared behind him. My daughter, 43 years old, wearing pearls I'd never seen before. She looked past my shoulder, wouldn't meet my eyes. "Dad, it's a work thing." Garrett's partners from the firm. We should have been clearer. A work thing. I repeated the words flatly. On Christmas Day. "It's a networking opportunity," Garrett said. His tone had shifted, impatient now. "Important clients, you understand." I looked at my daughter. Really looked, saw the way she stood half behind her husband, the way her hands twisted together, the way she still wouldn't look at me. I set the cheesecake down on the porch table beside the door. Carefully, gently. The ceramic plate made a soft sound against the wood. "You have 60 days, I said quietly, to vacate the house I co-signed for. The house I've been paying the property taxes on for 2 years. Garrett's face went white, then red. "You can't. Merry Christmas." I turned and walked back to my truck. Heard the door slam behind me. Heard raised voices start inside, muffled by the walls. My hands shook when I gripped the steering wheel. I forced myself to breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. 67 years old, and I was learning what betrayal felt like from my own daughter. The drive home took 40 minutes. Every red light felt like an hour. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel, and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. 3 years ago. That's when it started. I could trace it back now, sitting in my dark living room, the only light coming from the street lamp outside. 3 years ago. Rebecca and Garrett came to me with the house listing. A craftsman in the West Hills, $80,000, beautiful hardwood floors, updated kitchen, mature landscape. Their dream home, they said. We're $90,000 short on the down payment. Garrett had explained, spreading financial documents across my kitchen table. But we can swing the monthly payments. No problem. I'm making partner next year. Rebecca's getting promoted. We just need help with the down payment, and maybe you could co-sign. Just until my credit improves. I'd looked at my daughter, seen the hope in her eyes. The excitement. She'd been renting since her divorce from her first husband. Cramped apartments. No yard. No space. This house would give her roots again. "Dad, I know it's a lot to ask." Her voice had been soft, pleading. "But this is our chance. We can pay you back over time. Once Garrett makes partner, we'll have plenty. This is an investment in our future." I'd written the check, nearly wiped out my savings from 35 years as a civil engineer. Money I'd saved carefully, invested conservatively, planned to leave to her anyway, eventually. And the co-signature. Because Garrett's credit score was, because he had student loans and credit card debt, and a car payment on a BMW he couldn't really afford. Just temporary. He'd promised. 2 years maximum. Then we'll refinance in my name alone. You won't have any liability. 3 years later, they still hadn't refinanced. And I'd been paying the property taxes $14,000 annually because they kept saying they were cash flow tight, while driving luxury cars and taking vacations to Maui and installing that crystal chandelier. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, looked at the balance, $23,487. That's what remained of my retirement savings after helping my daughter buy her dream home. My phone buzzed. Text from Rebecca. Dad, please, can we talk about this rationally? I didn't respond. Set the phone face down on the coffee table. Another buzz. You're overreacting. It was just a miscommunication about dinner. Another. Garrett's sorry. We both are. Please don't do anything drastic. I picked up the phone. Typed slowly. You have 60 days. That's not negotiable. Then I blocked her number. The next morning, I called Stuart Hammond, the real estate attorney who'd handled my own home purchase 20 years ago. His office was downtown, small suite in an older building. He'd been practicing law for 40 years, knew every trick, every loophole. Thad. He shook my hand when I walked in. Good to see you. What brings you in the day after Christmas? I laid it all out. The co-signature, the down payment, the property taxes, Christmas dinner, everything. Stuart listened without interrupting. Took notes on a yellow legal pad. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and studied me over his reading glasses. First question. Do you have documentation of the down payment? I pulled out the folder I'd prepared. Bank statement showing the wire transfer. Email from Garrett thanking me. Calling it a loan we'll repay as soon as possible. Good. That establishes it wasn't a gift. Second question. The property taxes. Do you have proof you've been paying them? More documents. 2 years of property tax statements showing payments from my account. Excellent. Now here's the situation legally. Stuart tapped his pen against the pad. As co-signer on the mortgage, you have equal legal responsibility for the debt. But you also have certain rights. You can demand they refinance to remove you from the obligation. If they refuse or can't qualify, you can force a sale. How fast can that happen? Depends. If they cooperate, maybe 60 days. If they fight, it could be 6 months or more. Either way, you'll need to file formal notice of your intent. Do it. Stuart studied me carefully. Thad, I have to tell you, this will destroy your relationship with your daughter. Probably permanently. Are you prepared for that? I thought about standing on that porch. The cold. The cheesecake I'd made. The empty chair I could see through the door. 22 strangers eating in the house I'd helped buy. I don't have a relationship with her anymore. I just haven't accepted it until now. He nodded slowly. All right. I'll prepare the documents. We'll send them certified mail so there's proof of delivery. They'll have 30 days to respond with a refinancing plan or sale agreement. If they don't, we file a partition action. That's the legal term for forcing a sale. I signed the retainer agreement. Wrote another check. Watched my bank balance drop to $18,000. On the drive home, my phone rang. Unknown number. I didn't answer. Let it go to voicemail. Later, I checked the message. Garrett's voice tight with anger. You've made a huge mistake, old man. Coming after us like this. After everything we've done for you, inviting you to family events, including you in our lives, you think you can just throw legal threats around? We have our own lawyer. A good one. And when this is done, you won't have a relationship with Rebecca or your grandchildren. Think about that. I saved the voicemail. Forwarded to Stuart with a note, Exhibit A. Threatening communication. His response came back immediately. Perfect. Keep any other messages he sends. That evening, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop. Started going through old emails, text messages, financial records, building my case. Found an email from Garrett. From 6 months after the house purchase. Thanks again for the down payment loan. We should have the first repayment to you by Christmas. Things are tight, but we're managing. Found another from a year later. Thad, about the property taxes, can you cover them this year? We're having cash flow issues. We'll pay you back with interest. Found text messages from Rebecca. Dad, you're a lifesaver. Don't know what we'd do without you. Each one went into a folder, documented, organized. Evidence. Around 10 p.m. someone knocked on my door. Hard. Insistent. I looked through the peephole. Garrett. I opened the door but left the security chain engaged. We need to talk, he said. His face was red, jaw clenched. You can't just kick us out of our home. We have kids. Rebecca's devastated. You're destroying your own family. You destroyed it when you closed the door in my face. That was a misunderstanding. The table was full. We couldn't just... There was an empty chair. I saw it. That was reserved for... He stopped, realized he'd walked into the trap, for someone more important than me. I understand, that's why you have 60 days. Thad, be reasonable. Where are we supposed to go? Do you have any idea what rent costs in this city? You should have thought of that before spending my money on chandeliers and Maui vacations. His expression shifted, got uglier. Fine, you want to play it this way? Good luck proving that money was a loan. Family gifts aren't legally enforceable. Any judge will throw your case out. I have documentation, emails, text messages, your own words calling it a loan and promising repayment. The color drained from his face. Get off my property, I said quietly. Any further communication goes through the attorneys. I closed the door. Heard him swear. Heard his footsteps retreating down the walkway. Heard his car door slam and the engine roar to life. My hands were shaking again. But this time it wasn't fear. It was adrenaline. The cold clarity that comes from finally fighting back. I sat down at my laptop and kept working. Kept documenting. Kept building the case that would get me either my money back or my name off that mortgage. The relationship was already gone. Rebecca had made that choice when she stood behind her husband and looked away. Now I was just making it official. Outside, the December rain started. Steady. Relentless. The kind of Portland rain that lasts for weeks. I kept working until midnight. Until my eyes burned and my back ached. Until every email, every text, every financial record was organized into chronological order. Tomorrow, Stewart would file the formal notice. 30 days for them to respond. Then the real fight would begin. But tonight, sitting in my quiet house with only the sound of rain on the windows, I felt something I hadn't felt in 3 years. Peace, not happiness, not satisfaction. Just the peace that comes from refusing to be used anymore. I closed my laptop, went to bed, slept better than I had in months. If this story reminded you of the injustices you've seen, follow the channel and turn on notifications. Because wherever justice is delayed, a new revenge story begins. The certified letter arrived at their house on December. Stewart called me to confirm delivery. Garrett signed for it at 11:42 a.m. The clock is ticking. They have 30 days to provide a refinancing plan or agree to sell. If they don't respond, we file the partition action. What happens then? Court orders the property sold. Proceeds go to paying off the mortgage first, then remaining equity gets divided based on ownership stake. In your case, you'd argue for recovery of your down payment contribution plus the property taxes you've paid. Could be $20,000 or more depending on current market value. I did the math. They'd bought for $680,000 3 years ago. If the house had appreciated even modestly, they might have $150,000 in equity now. Minus my $90,000 down payment and $28,000 in property taxes, they'd walk away with maybe enough to live on while they figured out their next move. More than enough considering they'd spent 3 years living in a house I'd paid for while locking me out of their lives. 3 days later, my phone rang. Rebecca's name. I'd unblocked her that morning, figuring I needed to document any communication. Her voice was thick, like she'd been crying. "Please. We need to talk. Face to face. No lawyers. Just you and me. Anything you want to say can be said through our attorneys. I'm your daughter. Doesn't that mean anything? You are my daughter. Then you shut the door in my face on Christmas." "That wasn't Dad, please. Garrett made a mistake. We both did. But you can't take our home. Where will we go? What about the kids?" I thought about my grandson Tyler, 8 years old. My granddaughter Emma, 6. Hadn't seen them in 4 months. Not since Rebecca stopped returning my calls about visiting. "You should have thought about that before treating me like I was disposable. We never treated you. I helped you buy that house, gave you $90,000, co-signed the mortgage, paid your property taxes for 2 years, and you couldn't make space for me at Christmas dinner." Silence. "There was a chair," I said quietly. "Empty chair. Right there in the living room. I saw it. Dad, you have 30 days. Get a lawyer. Figure out refinancing. Or prepare to sell. Those are your options." I hung up, sat there staring at my phone, waiting to feel guilty, waiting to feel regret. Felt nothing but cold resolution. That evening I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. Subject line: "You're making a mistake." I opened it. Garrett's words, all caps in places filled with anger and threats. "Kaid, you're going to regret this. My father is a senior partner at Morrison & West. He's already connected me with the best real estate litigation team in Portland. They're going to destroy your case. You gave us that money as a gift. Everyone knows it. Rebecca's prepared to testify that you never expected repayment. When we're done, you'll owe us for emotional distress and harassment, and you'll never see your grandchildren again. Hope it's worth it." I forwarded it to Stuart. His response came back within minutes. "This is beautiful. Threatening litigation, weaponizing grandchildren access, claiming gift while simultaneously threatening to make you pay. Their lawyer is going to hate seeing this. Keep any others that come." Over the next week I received 4 more emails from Garrett, each one angrier than the last, each one making threats, each one claiming the money was clearly a gift while simultaneously describing how their lawyer would take me for everything I had. Each one went to Stuart. Each one became evidence. On January 15th, 3 days before the deadline, I got a call from a number with a Portland area code. Professional voicemail greeting: "Morrison & West, LLP, please leave a message." The voicemail was from Clayton Morrison himself, Garrett's father. Smooth voice, condescending: "Mr. Merrick, I'm calling regarding this unfortunate misunderstanding with my son and daughter-in-law. I think we can resolve this quickly and quietly without litigation. If you'll call me back, I'd like to discuss a settlement offer that I believe will satisfy everyone." I called Stuart instead. "They're scared," he said. "Morrison knows his son's case is weak. He's trying to settle before we file the partition action. Don't call him back. Let them sweat until the deadline." January 18th came and went. No refinancing plan, no sale agreement, just silence. On January 19th, Stuart filed the partition action, case number 2025 CV0394, Merrick v. Garrett and Merrick. The complaint was 15 pages. Every email, every text message, every bank record, the down payment, the property taxes, Garrett's own words calling it a loan, his promises to repay, the Christmas dinner exclusion, the threatening emails, all of it laid out in clinical legal language. A story of financial exploitation and family betrayal, told through documented facts. That afternoon my phone exploded. 7 missed calls from Rebecca, 3 from Garrett, 2 from numbers I didn't recognize. I didn't answer any of them. That evening, Rebecca sent a text. "We just got served. Dad, please, this is going too far. Can't we work this out?" I typed back, 30 days. You had 30 days to respond. You chose silence. Now the court decides. Her response came back immediately. "Fine. But when this is over, when you've taken everything from us, don't expect me to ever speak to you again. You've chosen money over your family." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I replied, "You chose a dinner party over your father. I'm just responding in kind." Deleted the thread. Blocked her number again. Outside, the January rain continued. Inside, I sat with my case files and waited for the legal system to grind forward. The first hearing was scheduled for February 12th. Multnomah County Courthouse. Judge Patricia Brennan presided. She had a reputation for no-nonsense rulings in property disputes, 20 years on the bench, specialized in partition actions and co-ownership conflicts. I arrived 30 minutes early, wearing the same suit I'd worn to my retirement ceremony 5 years ago. Navy blue, still fit well. Stewart met me in the courthouse lobby. "Ready?" "Yes." We went through security, took the elevator to the 4th floor. Courtroom 4C. Wood paneling, high ceilings, that particular silence that comes with legal proceeding. Garrett and Rebecca sat at the defendant's table with their attorney, not Clayton Morrison but someone younger. Adrian Foster, according to the nameplate in front of him, 30s, expensive suit, confident expression that suggested he hadn't fully grasped how weak his client's position was. Rebecca looked smaller than I remembered, thinner. Dark circles under her eyes. She glanced at me once, then looked away quickly. Judge Brennan entered at exactly 9 as we all stood. She took her seat and reviewed her notes for a moment before looking up. Case 2025 C. Merrick versus Garrett and Merrick. Partition action with claims of unjust enrichment and breach of implied contract. She looked at both tables. This is a preliminary hearing to determine if there's sufficient basis to proceed to trial. Mr. Hammond, you represent the plaintiff. Stewart stood. Yes, Your Honor. Outline your case. Stewart laid it out efficiently. The $90,000 down payment documented by wire transfer. Emails and text messages from Garrett specifically calling it a loan and promising repayment as soon as possible. 2 years of property tax payments totaling $28,000 paid entirely by me. The co-signature obligation that still tied me legally to the mortgage. The Christmas Day exclusion that precipitated the action. He submitted printed exhibits, every email, every text, every bank record, organized chronologically, highlighted for emphasis. Judge Brennan examined them silently for several minutes. What would you do at this point? Write it in the comments. Your thoughts are as important as the story itself. Mr. Foster, your response. Adrian Foster stood, smoothing his tie. Your Honor, this is clearly a family gift situation being mischaracterized as a loan. Mr. Merrick is a father who helped his daughter purchase a home, a common generous family act. The informal language in these emails reflects casual family communication, not a legally binding loan agreement. There was never any written promissory note, no repayment schedule, no interest rate specified. These are hallmarks of a gift, not a loan. What about the property taxes? Judge Brennan asked. The plaintiff has paid $28,000 over 2 years. How do you explain that? Mr. Merrick volunteered those payments as additional family support. My clients never requested them specifically. Actually, Stewart interrupted. We have an email where Mr. Garrett specifically asks the plaintiff to cover the property taxes this year due to cash flow issues. He handed a document to the clerk, who passed it to the judge. Brennan read it. Her expression remained neutral, but something shifted in her eyes. Mr. Foster, your client specifically requested tax payments and promised to pay back with interest. That's in writing. Foster's confidence wavered. Your Honor, that's taken out of context. The context appears clear to me. She set down the document. What about the co-signature obligation? Your clients have had 3 years to refinance and remove the plaintiff from liability. Why haven't they? Credit market conditions. Mr. Garrett is an attorney making, according to your financial disclosure, $180,000 annually. His wife works in marketing at combined income of two. Are you seriously arguing they can't qualify for refinance? Foster glanced at Garrett, who was staring at the table. There are other debts. Whose fault is that? Silence. Judge Brennan leaned back in her chair. Here's what I see, Mr. Foster. A father who contributed substantial funds to help his daughter with explicit written acknowledgement of debt and repayment obligation. A father who continued to support them financially for years while being increasingly excluded from family life. And a Christmas Day incident that frankly demonstrates appalling lack of gratitude. She looked at Rebecca. Ms. Merrick, stand up, please. Rebecca rose slowly, hands shaking. Did you exclude your father from Christmas dinner? Rebecca's voice came out barely above a whisper. The table was full. Answer the question. Did you exclude your father from Christmas dinner in the home he helped you purchase? Yes. Tears started. But it wasn't. That's sufficient. Brennan gestured for her to sit, turned to Foster. This case has merit. Strong merit. I'm setting a trial date for April 20th. Between now and then, I strongly suggest your clients consider settlement, because if this goes to trial, I'm inclined to rule for the plaintiff on both the loan recovery and unjust enrichment claims. Foster started to object. Brennan cut him off. We're done here. Court adjourned. The gavel struck once. Stewart and I left through the side door. In the hallway, he was smiling. That went even better than I expected. Brennan basically told them they're going to lose. What happens now? They'll try to settle, probably offer something like $40,000, hoping you'll take it and go away. Question is, will you? I thought about standing on that porch. The cold, the cheesecake, the closed door. I want full recovery. $90,000 plus the $28,000 in property taxes, plus my legal fees. Or force the sale and take my share from proceeds. That's what I thought. I'll communicate that when they reach out. We walked to the parking garage together. As I reached my truck, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voice, listened to it in the truck before starting the engine. Clayton Morrison's voice, no longer smooth and condescending, tight now, controlled anger barely concealed. Mr. Merrick, I just spoke with my son about the hearing. I'm prepared to make you a one-time offer. $60,000 paid over 2 years, and you release all claims. That's more than generous considering you have no legal basis for your demands. My advice is to take it. If this goes to trial, you'll get nothing, and you'll have destroyed your relationship with your daughter permanently. Call me by Friday. I forwarded it to Stewart with a message. His one-time offer is $6. My response is no. Stewart's reply came immediately. Good, let them sweat. Judge Brennan is on our side. That evening, I made dinner for myself. Spaghetti, simple. Ate at my kitchen table with case files spread around my plate. Reviewed everything again, looking for weaknesses in my position. Found none. The documentation was comprehensive. The law was clear. The judge was sympathetic. All that remained was seeing it through. Around 8 p.m. someone knocked on my door. Not Garrett this time. Rebecca. I looked through the peephole. She stood there alone, mascara running, obviously crying. I opened the door. Didn't invite her in. Subscribe and stay tuned, so you don't miss any true revenge stories. Sometimes, even silence is the strongest form of revenge. Dad. Please, we can't afford this. The legal fees alone are killing us. Garrett's father is furious. He says we made a mess and we have to clean it up ourselves. You did make a mess. This is you cleaning it up. We'll pay you back, I promise. Just drop the lawsuit. Give us time. You had 3 years. You chose Maui vacations and chandelier instead of repaying me. We were building a life with my money, while excluding me from that life. She wiped her eyes. I made a mistake. Christmas was a mistake. I should have insisted you stay. I should have stood up to Garrett. Yes, you should have. So punish me, not my children. They don't deserve to lose their home because of my mistake. I felt something twist in my chest. Thought about Tyler and Emma, 8 and 6, their rooms upstairs in the house I'd helped buy. Then I remembered 4 months without seeing them. Remembered texts that went unanswered. Remembered birthday cards I'd sent that never got acknowledged. You used your children as leverage when it suited you. Dangled access to them like a reward when I was useful, withdrew it when I wasn't. That's on you, Rebecca, not me. I'm your daughter. Then act like it. Pay what you owe. Take responsibility for your choices. Show me you understand what you did wrong. No. You're here because you got caught. Because a judge saw through your excuses. You're not sorry you took advantage of me. You're sorry there are consequences. Her face crumpled. Fine. Take everything. Take the house, take the money. Take whatever you want. But when it's done, when you've destroyed us, don't expect me to ever forgive you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for what I'm owed. She turned and walked back to her car. Drove away without looking back. I closed the door, stood there for a moment in the quiet. Felt nothing but cold certainty that I'd made the right choice. Over the next 6 weeks, Foster made 3 more settlement offers. February 20th, $70,000 paid over March 5th, $85,000 paid over 2 years, but I'd have to agree to continued family contact and reasonable grandparent visitation. March 18th, $100,000 paid over 18 months, all claims released, no admission of wrongdoing. I rejected all 3. April 15th, 5 days before trial, Foster called Stewart directly with a final offer. $118,000 full recovery of the down payment and property taxes paid within 90 days, plus they'd refinance immediately to remove my name from the mortgage. I accepted. Not because I'd softened, not because I felt guilty. Because it was full recovery, immediate payment and complete severance of financial ties. The settlement agreement was signed on April 18th, notarized, legally binding, no escape clauses. They had 90 days. By mid-July I'd have my money back. The check arrived July 12th. Certified funds, 100. Certified funds, 108. I deposited it at my bank. Watched the balance climb back to 6 figures. Money I'd given freely 3 years ago, now returned through legal force. That same day the refinancing completed. My name came off the mortgage. No more liability, no more obligation, no more connection to that house or the people living in it. I sat in my bank's parking lot after the deposit, staring at the receipt. I'd won, fully, completely, decisively. Got every dollar back. Got my name off their mortgage. Proved I was right. But sitting there in my truck, I didn't feel victorious, just empty. I drove home. The house was quiet. Had been for 7 months. Would stay that way. Probably. That evening I pulled out my phone, scrolled through photos, found one from 4 years ago. Rebecca, Tyler, Emma, and me at the zoo. Tyler was pointing at an elephant. Emma was laughing. Rebecca had her arm around me. Different time, different relationship. Gone now. Burned up in legal proceedings and broken promises. I almost deleted the photo. Hand hovered over the button. Then I put the phone down. Left the photo where it was. Not because I was holding on to hope, because forgetting wouldn't make it hurt less. Epilogue. 2 years later I sold my house. Downsized to a condo near the river. Smaller, easier to maintain. Good investment. The real estate agent who handled the sale mentioned she'd recently listed another property, the West Hills Craftsman. The one I'd helped Rebecca buy. They're relocating, she said. Job opportunity in Seattle. Beautiful home. But they need to sell fast. I didn't ask details. Didn't want to know if they'd struggled after paying me back, if they'd been forced to sell because of financial pressure, if my lawsuit had contributed to whatever circumstances drove them to Seattle. That chapter was closed. I never heard from Rebecca again. No birthday calls, no holiday cards, no attempts at reconciliation. Tyler would be 10 now. Emma, 8, growing up in Seattle, probably, building lives that didn't include me. I thought about them sometimes. Wondered if Rebecca had told them what happened, how she'd explained my absence. Wondered if she'd made me the villain or told them the truth. Probably the former. Easier that way. Stuart retired 6 months after the settlement. We had lunch one last time before he closed his practice. Any regrets? He asked. I thought about it, really thought about it. No, they stole from me. Not money exactly. Respect, dignity, consideration. They treated me like I was disposable. The lawsuit was just making that theft visible and demanding compensation. Most people would say family is more important than money. Most people didn't stand on that porch on Christmas Day. He nodded slowly. Fair enough. I lived alone in my condos, joined a book club, took up woodworking, volunteered at a local community center teaching basic financial literacy, how to save, how to invest, how to recognize when people are taking advantage of you. The irony wasn't lost on me. Life wasn't bad. Quiet, solitary, but not unhappy. I'd rebuilt something stable from the wreckage. Found purpose in helping others avoid the mistakes I'd made, trusting too easily, giving too freely, expecting gratitude to equal repayment. One afternoon in October, almost 3 years after Christmas dinner, I was at the hardware store buying wood for a bookshelf project. Turned down an aisle and nearly walked into Rebecca. We both froze. She looked older, tired, graying hair she hadn't bothered to dye, lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. Dad. Rebecca. Silence stretched between us. Uncomfortable. Heavy. How are you? She finally asked. Fine. You? We're good. Seattle's good. Garrett's doing well. The kids are happy. That's good. More silence. I think about Christmas, she said quietly. About that night, about everything that happened after. I waited. I was wrong. About how we treated you. About letting Garrett shut you out. About taking your money and your help and acting like you owed us those things. Yes, you were wrong. She flinched. I know I can't fix it. The lawsuit, the settlement, everything, it's done. But I wanted you to know I understand now. What we did. What I did. Understanding is good. Better late than never. The kids ask about you sometimes. Tyler especially. He remembers the zoo, the fishing trips, the way you'd let him help with your projects. Something tightened in my chest. What do you tell them? The truth. That Garrett and I made mistakes. That we hurt you. That you stood up for yourself. That sometimes families break and it's nobody's fault and everybody's fault. I nodded slowly. That's fair. Would you? She stopped. Started again. Would you want to see them? Not at our house. Somewhere neutral. Just coffee or lunch. No expectations, no obligations. Just, no. She nodded. Had expected that answer. I understand. They're better off with the version of me they remember. The grandfather who took them to the zoo. Not the one who sued their parent. You had every right, I know. But that doesn't make it less complicated for them. We stood there for another moment. Then Rebecca reached out slowly and touched my arm. Light, brief. I'm sorry, Dad. For all of it. You deserved better. Yes, I did. She walked away. I watched her go, felt something that might have been regret or might have been relief or might have been both. Then I picked up my lumber and went home to build my bookshelf. That evening I pulled out that photo from the zoo, looked at it for a long time. Tyler pointing at the elephant, Emma laughing, Rebecca's arm around me. All of us happy, years before everything fell apart. I set it in a frame, put it on my bookshelf next to the financial literacy manuals I used for teaching. Not because I'd forgiven them, not because I regretted the lawsuit, because that moment had been real once. That relationship had existed. And remembering it wasn't the same as letting them hurt me again. The lawsuit had proven I was owed $118,000. The court had agreed. The check had cleared. What it couldn't prove was whether I'd made the right choice. Most people would say no, would say family is worth more than money, that forgiveness costs nothing, that I'd won the battle but lost the war. They might be right, but I could look at myself in the mirror. could sleep without the weight of being used, could live without pretending that giving until you're bled dry is the same as love. Justice had cost me my daughter and grandchildren. But it had given me back something I'd lost on that Christmas porch, my dignity. That had to be enough, because it was all I had left. The end is. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Click the box on the left to hear the next story. Thank you for watching.